Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Centennial College's The Journal. I'm your host Ellis Berman.
And I'm your comic relief, Reid. We have a great show lined up for you guys this week. We've got stories featuring things from amazing young artists to cute and cuddly animals. So don't you dare go away.
As we all know, television and film are the largest forms of media and entertainment today. Although most of our television shows and movies are made down in the States, there are many production companies here in Canada trying to make it big. Let's take a look at this piece about Big Soul, an Aboriginal production company here in the GTA.
Big Soul Productions is an independent film and television production company. We're based in Toronto, Ontario, and we service primarily the Aboriginal market. Our main, our main products are geared towards First Nations, Aboriginal, Métis, and Inuit people, just based on our main broadcaster, which is APTN. And we produce content for them that reflects their viewers.
While working at Big Soul Productions, I've been involved in many things, including the animation series By the Rapids, a lot of corporate work with the National Aboriginal Achievement Foundation, filming the National Aboriginal Achievement Awards, the Blueprint for the Future, the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business, and we have music videos that we shoot in the summer, and for the past few years we've been working with ABTN and filming first tracks. So we just finished filming season 4 the past summer, and we're actually just finished working on another music video for Joey Styles.
Listen up, puppy dogs, kitty cats, here we are. The flashes on the cameras have us feeling like stars. When you're home alone, turn your camera on. The picture from last night's where you'll find me. Making funny faces, so many different places. X and O's, baby.
There's a lot of planning that goes into the video beforehand, and it really depends on the music video. There's just things like casting, and the video that we just shot with Joey, finding a venue, and getting. This video was interesting because we had to get a bunch of extras to come out, and then you just have to hope that they actually show up.
And then eventually it gets to the production stage, and it's the day of, that's the shooting day in production, and so you show up. Usually it's a really long day. It's 12 plus hours on any given music video. Once that's completed, it heads off to post-production and to the editor, and they assemble the footage.
Usually I give myself a week or so to do a rough pass, and that's just the footage itself without any sort of extra special things added to it, no bells or whistles and anything like that. Probably, I would say, to get a good version done, maybe not finalized, but I would say about a month or so.
Well, the best part of working at Big Soul is that we are one big family. Anybody that comes into the organization becomes part of a family, family tree, as you would call it. We all get along really well, and obviously there's some issues that we can talk about, but it's never, will stay for the day. Pretty much, it's so welcoming in here, and anybody who comes in and is part of the organization at a little point or at some point or another becomes, a Big Soul family.
Wow, I knew we had some awesome production companies here in Toronto, but I didn't know they were that good. And to have that many projects under their belt, kudos to you guys. Now our next story is about daycares.
Daycares. What about them?
Well, you know how some parents are just too busy to work and aren't able to take care of their kids all day? They send them to daycare, where they get their daily exercise, are able to have fun and interact with kids all day.
Oh yeah, I remember going to some daycares when I was a kid. It was a lot of fun, even though sometimes I just didn't want to go.
Yeah, well, this daycare is a little different, Ellis. Instead of taking care of people's children, they take care of people's dogs.
Oh, I've heard of those. They're called doggy daycares, and you can send your dog there to play all day and have fun with other dogs. They've become really popular lately.
Exactly. Now, let's take a look at the owners of the Dog Pad.
I'm Jennifer McEwen.
I'm Brett Marsh, and our company is the Dog Pad. We're a doggy daycare primarily, and our goal is to provide the dogs with a safe and fun place to be. We need the dogs to be contained well, being that there's 6-foot fences everywhere. The dogs are made to adhere to some boundaries, so that adds to the safety element because they're all running around like crazy. We have to make sure that they listen to us.
Well, we do with them what you would do with them at home. So we play with them all day, just tire them out, and then we come in and hang out like you would at home. Exactly like you would at home, just with a bigger group. So they're able to just play and tire themselves out a little more. You got to keep everybody's energy the same. If you throw in a bad energy, then it throws all the dogs off. So everybody has to be the same, consistent. We can't have, when we do interviews with new clients and whatnot, we can't have them go out with the dogs because it will set the dogs up. We can't have dogs that are high energy or bad or dominant in any way come in because again, it will set everything off. And no matter what we do, they're just not going to listen to us. So we have to maintain everybody has to be calm and the same every day. So that's the biggest challenge is keeping them happy and making sure it's all.
But enabling them to be dogs and be able to enjoy running at full speed and doing those things that dogs have to do to really get their yayas out, drain themselves physically, but mentally is what a pack enables us to work on really well. Generally, dogs are easy to tire physically, but mentally, especially working dogs need to have something extra, something that they perceive as a job. So we have plenty of dogs here that running and chasing a certain dog all day long is their job. But they go home satisfied and tired, and their owners love us for it. Being able to have a facility and a pack that safely enables them to go crazy. I mean, we don't make them sit and lie down all day. We just provide boundaries, set the boundaries, and then maintain and police those boundaries. And as over the years, the dogs as a group and as individuals have learned to respect us, both of us. It's not about size or intimidation or anything. It's just about energy and the dogs trusting us, and then they're it's easy to get them to do what we want to do. And it all comes back to safety. It's got to be a safe environment for these people's precious members of the family to come and not get hurt.
Look how happy they are. This is what makes it worthwhile, is how happy they are at the end of the day.
Yeah, certainly in our day and age, having an entrepreneurial mind will benefit you in the long run if you've got the fortitude and some skills, and you've got a passion for something. You will be a success. It's a great place to make some money in the city. But if you love what you do, then the chances of you being successful are, it's hard to fail if you are able to get up every day and move forward, which we did fairly well. So we're lucky. We love what we do.
Aw, I just love those little dogs. I wish I had one.
Yeah, I especially like the one that cartwheeled down the hill, jackbutt style. Hilarious.
You just love laughing at the expense of others, don't you?
How could you guess?
Anyways, our next story takes us into the life of Chloe, an extremely talented artist who faces challenges and struggles every day, but is still able to create amazing works of art. And despite her disability, she is always getting better. So let's take a look at our next piece.
Meet 16-year-old Chloe Fox, a self-taught artist living in Midtown Toronto. From the time she was a young child, Chloe has devoted her time and energy to drawing and painting.
As soon as she could hold a pencil or a crayon, she's been drawing, and I still have drawings that she did when she was barely old enough to walk.
I like to draw mostly people, but sometimes landscapes and things like that.
Every artist has a struggle, but Chloe's struggle is a little different than most.
I have a disability called rheumatoid arthritis, and it basically just affects my joints and their movement.
Chloe's physical limitations, however, have allowed her to focus on her various forms of art. Even when she's not at home, Chloe still works on perfecting her talent.
I decided to carry a sketchbook around because it makes it a lot easier to carry out ideas and practice.
Whatever she knows about visual art and drawing and proportions of faces and shading and coloring, that's entirely her. Whether that's something she's picked up osmotically through the books that she reads or stuff she finds on the internet, plus her own talent and ability, it is awe-inspiring. Watching her talent evolve and mature is an exquisite joy for a parent.
Although many people are amazed by Chloe's artistic abilities, for Chloe herself, her art is something that just comes naturally.
Drawing and stuff like that feels more of like a reflex than anything. It doesn't feel like it's something I should be doing. It's something that I happen to do when I'm not really thinking about it.
Wow, she's really good. If only I could draw like her. As it is, I can only draw things like this.
That's okay. It still looks really good.
Really?
Sure.
Thanks, Ellis. Anyway, our last piece tonight is about DJing and what it takes to be able to rule the club scene. Let's take a look into the life of Joshua V.
My name is Joshua V. I'm from Montreal, Quebec. I started DJing when I was about 15. I got 2 old school vinyl turntables and a mixer, and I didn't even buy any records for the first couple of years. I just grabbed whatever I could find and, had some fun with it. I started mixing hip hop at first. From there, I took a couple of years off before getting into computer DJing, which is what I do now. What I spin most of the time is very similar to what I produce, which is the electro house, the tech house, the progressive house, basically just whatever makes the party bounce. With electronic music, you get all these random sounds and just things that your ear isn't used to hearing.
Technology plays a huge role in both DJing and production these days. This little synth cost me $2,500 or so. These CDJs were $650 each, and then I have the mixer, which is $400. It's gotten a lot more expensive than in the olden days when it was just one guy with the turntable. But there are obviously improvements that go along with the fact that it costs so much more money. You can do cooler things, the beat matching is easier, you can pull little tricks, you can stick a vocal that doesn't belong there in it, things like that. This is how I make music. When I find myself in these periods where I don't really have any DJ gigs on the calendar, I find other ways to keep myself, recreationally happy. Just making the music keeps me busy a lot of the time. I like to yo-yo.
I was actually number 2 in Canada for the year 2006. By 2010, I hope to be second in the universe. Still working on that. One thing about the yo-yoing is that it actually helps my DJ skills and vice versa. Because when you think about it, all you're doing is taking a material and spinning it. I had my first single come out recently on Beatport. Beatport is an online music store, specifically for electronic music. I have good feelings about it, even if it doesn't sell that well. It's pretty cool that if people want to, they have the option to buy it. The thing I like most about DJing would just be the power and the exhilaration. The excitement overwhelms you, and it's really stressful at first because you're controlling how someone's night's gonna go to a certain extent. There's all this anticipation and pressure on you. But always within the first 10-15 minutes I cool down and it just becomes a lot of fun.
Well, that's unfortunately all the time we have for this week's show, but don't forget to join us next week on our next episode of The Journal.
Also, don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 5 p.m. for some more interesting documentaries and stories. I'm Eric Reid.
And I'm Ellis Berman. From all of us here at Centennial College, thanks for tuning in and good night.